Hello Year 7. Right, what I would like to do in this little short video is I'm going to explain to you how to use your virtual laboratory. Now remember, for this task what you are going to be doing is you are going to be investigating how the angle of launch affects how far a cannonball flies. Now then, you're going to need to open up the link that I will have sent you. And when you open it up, this is what you will see. Okay, it will say projectile motion, and you'll have 4 different options here: intro, vectors, drag, and lab. The one that you need is the one that is titled intro. You can use the others, but it gets a little bit complicated if you try to. So you need to click on intro, and when you open intro up, this is what you've got. Here you've got a cannon. Okay. Over here you've got some measuring devices. Over here you've got some different options that you can choose. Now remember, what you are choosing to investigate is you are investigating how changing the angle of this cannon affects how far a cannonball flies. And you will notice that when I click on the cannon itself, I can drag it to different angles. Okay. You'll also notice that the cannon is on this tower thing at the moment. Okay. What I'm going to suggest you do, because obviously you're going to want to make this a fair test, is I'm going to suggest that you bring that all the way down and you keep it set at 1 meter. Okay. Underneath that, you'll see a thing that says initial speed. Now what this is how fast the cannon is firing the cannonball out, and you can set that from anywhere from 0 meters per second, okay, all the way up to 30 meters per second. I'm going to suggest that you keep it set at 15 meters per second, because remember, we want this to be a fair test. Over here, you'll notice you have something that says velocity vectors and acceleration vectors. Don't worry about any of that. Okay, we're going to leave that. I'm not going to put any ticks in any of those boxes. In the box above here, you will notice that you can choose different things to launch. Okay, and you can have a cannonball, tank shell, golf ball. Now, to be honest, it doesn't matter what you launch, as long as you use the same thing every time. I'm going to suggest that we use a cannonball. Okay. Underneath here, you'll notice it says air resistance. What I would like you to do, please, is to put a tick in that box, because what that does then is, in our virtual laboratory, it switches on the air resistance, so it's a little bit more realistic. Up here, we have got 2 different measuring devices, and when we do an experiment in a moment, I'm going to show you how to use those things. So there we've got our experiment set up. You obviously, your independent variable, the thing that you are changing, is going to be the angle that you launch your cannonball from the cannon. Okay, that's going to be the thing that you are going to be changing. Okay. So let's imagine that one of my tests that I've planned for is to launch a cannonball at an angle of 30 degrees. There it is. I've got it all set at 30 degrees. To launch my cannonball, all I need to then do is to click this button. This button is the launch button. Off it goes. Okay, so there my cannonball was launched. Now what you are going to need to do then is you are going to need to measure how far the cannonball traveled. What range did it achieve? Now there's 2 ways you can do this. There is a little tape measure, okay, and to use the tape measure you're going to need to line up. Notice there's a little cross there. You need to line up that cross at the beginning, and then you pull the tape measure out, okay, there, and it will tell you the distance from where the cannonball was launched to where the cannonball landed. Okay, the alternative to that is this thing here, and this is probably a little bit easier to use. When you drag this, okay, do you know? Oh, I'm going to put it back. Do you notice there's little spots all the way along the path that the cannonball flew? If you line up, okay, the crosshairs on one of those little dots, it will tell you some information about how far that cannonball had flown. So it tells us that the cannonball flew for 1.65 seconds when it reached this point. The range, the number that you're interested in, is this number here. So it tells us that the cannonball flew 21.34 meters. Okay. So let's put that one back. Don't worry too much about the height. That just tells you how high the cannonball is at any point, but it's how far the cannonball goes, the range of the cannonball. That's the bit that we're interested in. So I've done a test. I've tested 30 degrees. Okay, to get rid of that, I just click the little rubber symbol, and it takes all that away. If I wanted to then repeat that test, I can just click fire again and measure it again. If you've planned repeats into your investigation, which I hope you do, you can then change the angle. Let's try 55 degrees this time. Click fire. Okay, and again you can measure how far your cannonball has gone. Okay, now then, I hope all that made sense. Okay, you're going to be using this virtual laboratory to carry out your investigation. All the details for this are all on Edmodo and in my live Teams lessons as well. Okay, see you soon.